Next item on the agenda has been moved from the superintendent consent agenda to business 7.04, policy revisions. Is there a motion? This is a first reading. So what we can do in the discussion with a motion, because it is a first reading, we can waive additional readings because this was in a discussion in the workshop. Consider that when a motion is made.
I would move approval of policy. I got it in front of me. 4300.
Is there a second? Second. Discussion. Now, as I was saying, since we're in the discussion phase of this, this is 4300. It's a first reading. It is limiting immigration enforcement in schools. We, as a board, did have this discussion today earlier in a board workshop, which was actually technically a first reading, and had a discussion on that. So that would be the idea on waiving a board meeting first reading. That's my aspect of the discussion. However, if we want to stand, we can actually pass this at the next board meeting. Considerations or topics?
I don't know. How's that sound? Because that, when we did actually discuss this at the workshop, it was not looked at as that would be a first reading. So I would defer to my fellow board members if we want to take this as just approval tonight and waive the first reading.
Let's have a discussion about 4300 then. So 4300 is it's one from WASDA, the Washington State School Directors Association. It is spearheaded under RCW 43.10.310 Immigration Enforcement Model Policies that has come from Olympia. We are directed from the Attorney General's office to either accept this, write one of our own, or explain to the Attorney General in writing why we're doing something different. However, one of the things that we have discussed earlier in our workshop is that the school district is here for educational purposes. Law enforcement is not one of our duties. And we obviously comply wholeheartedly with any and all enforcement of any law within the state or federal. So because it is also deemed essential from Washington State, that would be one of the reasons that we would consider waiving the first reading. But with this policies, because we did have a discussion earlier. Let's have a discussion again, Director Campbell. I'm going to throw it in your court.
Yeah, in the workshop, one of the things I wanted to mention is I'm a teacher also, and this is an issue that was brought up a lot in school districts I've worked at before in Eastern Washington, where we've had a very large immigrant population in our school districts. This is a sensitive topic for a lot of families. I've been an immigrant as well. I've lived overseas, and there are moments that are very scary that you don't know a lot of different things about policies. So I wanted to dismay a few things for families who may be worried about the board having a policy that we're passing that says the word immigration on it, because it's a very hot topic. And I want to just echo what President Langston had to say. We are not a law enforcement agency. We are here to educate kids, period. We're not here to worry about statuses of different things. And just a couple of line items I wanted to pull out of it. One of the bullet points, and here's the third bullet point down on applicability of the policies. It says, and we have it where we basically, the editing that we've done on it is basically just applying our school district's name to the policy for the state. Monroe School District's policy prohibiting participation in aid and immigration enforcement shall apply for enforcement activity against students and their families, staff, and volunteer. We are not enforcing immigration policy. We are educating kids. One of the other ones is under the first bullet point under access to schools. It says has a responsibility to ensure that all students who reside in their boundaries can safely access a free public K-12 education. That is our goal. We are not here to worry about immigration status and things like that. So for families who may have their immigration status in question, for lack of better words, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about educating your kids. And I just wanted to share a little bit of that in Spanish as well. This is not a policy to enforce it in the schools. This is a policy for us to say we abide by state laws and we're worried about educating kids. If it's okay with you, I wanted to share some of that in Spanish for some of our families that are Spanish speakers. Para las familias que son hispanohablantes, los que quieren escuchar de esta política, es el código 4300, es un borrador de limitar el enforzamiento de inmigración en las escuelas. No es una política es una política del Estado, pero no es una política acerca de la migra para buscar familias en las escuelas. Es una política para asegurarles que el distrito escolar de Monroe tenemos la seguridad de sus hijos y sus familias como prioridad. Lo que estamos haciendo aquí, estamos preocupados de educar a sus hijos y no el enforzamiento de las leyes de la migración. Así que si hay momentos, si hay algo que pasa con algún estado de alguna familia de su estado de inmigración y tiene preocupación, el distrito escolar no está entregando nadie a nada. No estamos llamando a ninguna entidad de enforzamiento de la ley acerca de la migra. Lo que estamos haciendo es educando a sus hijos, punto y fin. Si ustedes tienen alguna preocupación o pregunta acerca de este estado, puede acercarse a nosotros para hacer cualquier pregunta acerca de la política. Y también hemos hablado con el director el presidente de la Junta Directiva de Monroe, y esta política que tenemos a nuestras manos, el código 4300, vamos a tener traducido al español también. Sé que no todas nuestras políticas están en español. Sin embargo, como esta política es algo que hace preocupar a muchas familias, queremos ponerlo en español para que las familias puedan tener toda la seguridad de que sus hijos, cuando vienen a nuestras escuelas, la única cosa que nos preocupa es su educación, punto y fin. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Any other discussions? Deborah.
Well, that was really good. I want to point out, like, above all else, it adheres to all state and federal law. So that is the first bullet point on there. And Jeremiah, that was, again, very, very good.
Excellent. Well, we have a motion, Director Chessman.
Correct. So my current motion says that this is a first reading.
does.
So if, since President Langston thrown that out there, I was going to ask how the other board members felt, and I'd be happy to amend my motion if you would like that, or we can continue this to our next meeting.
I'd like to continue it to the next meeting. It's really pretty lengthy, and I'd just like to read and think through it a little bit more. I have nothing opposed to it, but there's a lot of information there.
Well, and to that point, I would say it also gives the community an opportunity to access it. That's typically why we have our first and second readings. The first is to introduce it and give the community time to review it. So. And with that.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, with that, the Monroe School Board of Directors has a motion to approve policy 4300 as presented for our first reading. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you.